My sister tried to take $50,000 with fake loan papers of my mom and dad's name. At the meal, I put the proof on the table and saw her fall apart. I was on a video call with my bro Mark to talk about coming home for Easter when he told me bad news. Our sis Janet had a big fight with our folks about quitting nurse school. When Dad said he would not give her money, she said that I liked girls. She showed them pics from my secret Instagram and told them I was making our youngest sis Lily like girls too. She said I made fun of what they believe when they were not looking. She said she tried to stop them from finding out who I really am. Mom cried and Dad went to his room. Janet spent the next hour making Mom feel better and acting like the good kid. I drove to my bro Mark's home. Lily was there too, crying. Janet told Mom she found girl love stuff on Lily's phone and said I made her that way. My bro told me Janet was trying to get power over Grandma's money. She told everyone I could not be trusted with family stuff. We found out Janet did bad things for years. Like she said Lily was going to have a baby in high school, but it was really Janet who needed money to end a baby. She said Mark took cash from the church, but she took it for a trip. Then Mark showed me Janet's Instagram. It showed she lied about nurse school all term. She put up pics of her in nurse clothes she never wore to fake classes. Mom and Dad paid $30,000 for classes she did not go to. Lily found Janet's money app. It showed Janet spent the school money on shows and trips to Miami. She sent Mom and Dad fake grade reports she made on a computer. Mark's girl who works at the school office told us Janet got kicked out. She paid someone to take her body test 2 months ago. She did not quit school like she said. We found emails where Janet tried to get loans using Mom and Dad's info. They did not know. She got okay for $50,000 that would come next week. Janet told people she was breaking my ties with Mom and Dad. She called me a goody-goody who should be left out. She said I would not get any family money when folks died. She looked up if liking girls could stop me from getting money in a will. She was sad when she found out it could not. We found she took mail to hide credit card bills. She used Mom's card for clothes at fancy shops. We found fake checks from Dad's work account. We found proof Janet sold our dead grandpa's stuff online. She told Mom and Dad she was taking care of his things. She made $20,000 from selling his watches and war stuff. These were meant to stay in our family. My bro found texts where Janet talked about selling Grandma's jewels. Grandma was still sick in a home, but not dead yet. Janet told buyers they would get the jewels soon. We put all the proof in a big folder. It showed 3 years of lies and stealing. Janet sent texts to our family chat. She said they should pray for me. She sent links to camps to try to make straight people out of gay people. Some camps use shocks to hurt people. She said bad times need bad fixes. She got Mom and Dad to ask the church man and his wife to Sunday meal. She knew it would make me feel bad. At the meal, the church man and his wife sat by Mom and Dad. All looked at me like I was sick. Janet wore a cross I never saw before. Mom made me wait outside for 5 minutes before she let me in. She called it God's house now. Janet put Bible words about liking girls on my chair. She marked them in pink. Mom said she was sad. She said I made our family look bad at church and to our friends. The church man said Bible words while Mom talked. Janet kept saying she tried to help me be good. She said she saw me trying to make Lily like girls too. Lily held my hand under the table so hard her nails hurt me. Dad would not look at me. Mom said I made our family look bad and broke what they built. The church man put his hand on my head and prayed. I did not say he could. Janet smiled while she held her hands like she was praying. Mom was about to tell me to leave or make me go to a camp to change me, but I stood up. I had a big folder in my hands. I put it on the table with a loud bang. The water cup shook. Janet's mean look went away for a second, then came back. She started to talk about prayer time. I said, before you talk more about me or my life, you need to know the truth about Janet. The churchman's wife made a sound. I kept talking. I had my hand on the folder. All she told you is lies. It starts with nurse school. Janet's face got white as I opened the folder. Mom told me to stop. I looked right at Janet. I said, should we start with the teen baby or the fake checks? Janet's face turned all white. I took the first paper from the folder. It was a letter from the school office. I held it up so all could see the school name at the top. The room got real quiet. Mom reached for the letter. Dad's face got tight. The churchman stopped praying with his hand in the air. I gave the letter to Mom. I watched her eyes read the words. The letter said Janet got kicked out 2 months ago. She paid another kid to take her body test. Janet tried to take the paper from Mom. Her chair made a loud sound when she stood up fast. The churchman's wife moved in her seat. She looked at her man with big eyes. Janet's voice got high and fast. She said the letter was fake. She said I was trying to break our family because I was mad she told on me. Her hand shook as she tried to grab the paper. Mom moved it away. I stayed calm. I took more papers from the folder. These were pics from Janet's Instagram. They showed her in nurse clothes she bought online. She never wore them to real nurse classes. Each pic had a time on it. The time showed she put it up when she should have been in class. Dad took the papers. His hand shook a little as his glasses caught the light as he looked at each pic. Janet's voice got loud. She said someone took her page and put up fake pics. She looked at Mom and Dad like she was trying to pick who to trick first. Lily made a small sound in her throat. All looked at her. Her voice was soft but strong. She told about the baby scare in high school. Janet said it was Lily who was going to have a baby. Lily told how Janet needed money to end a baby. But when Mom and Dad found the test, Janet said it was Lily's. Mom's face got sad as she looked at her girls. Janet pointed at Lily fast. She called Lily a liar. She said I told Lily lies to make the family hate Janet. Lily's hand found mine under the table. She held it tight. I reached in the folder again. I took the papers from Janet's money app that we printed. The paper showed $30,000 for school was spent on trips to Miami, show tickets, and fancy clothes in just one term. Each buy said things like Miami spring break and show tickets. It showed the dates Mom and Dad wrote checks for school. The church man cleared his throat. He said we should keep this in the family. I put more papers on the table. Dad looked Janet in the eyes and asked if she went to nurse school this term. His voice was calm, but it was scary. All got still. Janet's eyes filled with tears. The tears looked fake. She put her hands on her face. She said all were ganging up on her. She tried to get near Mom for help.
Mom did not move. She just looked at the proof on the table. Mark took out his phone. He showed the screen to Dad. It showed pics of Janet's texts to her friends. She said she was happy she broke me. She called me bad names. She said she was glad I got kicked out. She said she could not wait to see me with no home while she got all the family money. The churchman's wife got close to him. She said she wanted to go. He shook his head no. He said they should stay to see what happened. I took a deep breath. I looked at all at the table. I said I liked girls, and I was not ashamed. I said that using who I am would not make Janet's bad acts go away. The room got quiet. Only Janet said I was trying to make them look at something else instead of my bad ways. She kept saying that word like it would make them not see the proof. I took the worst papers from the folder. I took out the pics from the selling site slow. I showed them to Dad. When he saw Grandpa's Purple Heart medal sold for $800, he stopped breathing. The next page showed his whole watch set sold for $20,000 altogether. Dad stood up so fast his chair fell back. His hands made fists. I thought he would hit Janet. She must have thought so too. She ran to the door. Mark was already in her way. His arms were crossed. He said, "You need to face what you did." Janet yelled that we were all mad she did well. She said she was the only good kid in this bad family. The churchman and his wife stood up slow. They got their things. The churchman said this was a family problem that needed laws, not prayers. His wife would not look at anyone as they walked to the door. I heard her tell him they should not have got in this mess. Dad's voice got loud. He wanted Janet's phone and computer now. He needed to see what else she kept from the family. Janet shook her head no. She tried to run past Mark to the steps.
Mom's voice stopped her with one word that filled the room. Enough. Janet stopped on the third step. She turned around, slow. Mom told her to sit down. They needed to talk about the $50,000 loan papers we found. She used Mom and Dad's secret numbers without asking. Janet's face went from red and mad to white and scared. She knew we looked in her email. She knew we knew all. Her legs looked weak as she walked back to the table. She sat down hard in her chair. She looked at the proof all around. I told how Mark's girl at the school office helped us find the truth. Janet got kicked out 2 months ago, not last week like she said. She paid $500 for another kid to take her body test for her. When the school found out, they kicked her out fast. She could not come back. Janet took all the school checks Mom and Dad sent. She kept the money. She said she went to classes that were not real. Mom cried again, but this time she cried mad tears, not sad tears. Dad was still on the phone with the bank. He wrote down case numbers. Janet tried to trick them again. She fell on her knees. She cried about how hard it was to be the perfect kid. No one moved to help her, so she cried louder. Dad took out his phone again. He called a new number. He said, "Let me talk to Rowena Cade, please. Tell her it's a family problem about lies and stealing." He put the phone on speaker on the table. Rowena's voice came through. It was clear and work-like. Dad told her what we found. She listened without talking. When he was done telling about the fake checks and stolen money, she said, "You need to call the cops now, tonight if you can." She also told us to lock all bank and credit cards now, so Janet could not take all the money. Janet jumped up from her chair. She knocked over Mom's water cup. Janet begged Mom not to call the cops. She said she would pay it all back somehow, but Dad asked how she would do it with no job and no school. She just said she would find a way. Mark cleared his throat. He told more big news. He said he called the home where Grandma stays this morning. He was worried Janet would try to get power over Grandma's money. The boss there said a girl who looked like Janet came yesterday. She asked about jewelry and money papers. She said she was doing family business. They sent her away. She was not on the list of people who could visit. Janet's face went from white to bright red. She cried, "Mark is lying!" But Mark showed the email from his phone. It showed what the boss wrote back. It showed the time from the camera video. Lily stood up fast. She walked to Mom with her phone. She showed pic after pic of texts Janet sent her for weeks. Mom's hand shook as she read Janet's threats. Janet said she would tell the church kids about Lily. She said she would send Lily links to camps to make her straight. She said she would tell everyone at church Lily liked girls if Lily did not pay Janet from her job at the mall. Mom's eyes filled with tears as she read message after message. Janet called Lily bad names. She said she would break Lily's life like she broke mine. Janet tried to take the phone from Mom. Dad stopped her. Janet tried one last thing. She put her hand on her stomach. She said she was going to have a baby. She said she needed the money for her kid. Lily laughed out loud. She pulled up Janet's Instagram from last week.
It showed Janet doing strong drinks at a club. She danced on tables with a drink in each hand. She wrote how sick she felt the next day. Janet said the videos were old, but Lily showed the dates from 5 days ago. She also showed Janet's Snapchat from yesterday. It showed Janet drinking wine at a morning meal. Dad's phone rang. He walked away to answer. He came back a few minutes later. His jaw was tight. The bank had locked all their accounts. They saw weird stuff from 6 months ago. The boss wanted them to come in first thing tomorrow. They needed to look at camera videos of money machine takes they did not do. Janet jumped over the table. She tried to grab the proof folder. She knocked plates on the floor. Red wine went on Mom's white tablecloth. Mark had to hold her down. She screamed that we were breaking her life. She said she would tell everyone at church that I made Lily like girls. She said I broke the family with my bad ways. I stood up. I looked Janet right in the eyes. I told her her scares did not work now. The truth about her bad acts would come out no matter what lies she told about me liking girls. She spit at me. It hit the table, not me. Mom finally had enough. She told Janet to leave the house now. Janet asked where she should go after we broke everything. Dad told her in the coldest voice I ever heard. He said she should have thought before stealing from family. He gave her 1 hour to pack her things. Then he would change all the locks. If she took things that were not hers, they would tell the cops. Janet went up the stairs. She yelled and cried. She slammed her door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Mom fell in her chair. She asked how they missed all the signs. She asked how her kid could do this to them. I knelt by her. I told her how Janet made us fight each other for years. She made us think we were the problem. She made herself look like the hurt one. She used their trust and their faith to hide her bad acts. Mom grabbed my hand. It was the first real touch since Janet told them I like girls. I felt her whole body shake. Mark was on the phone with the police. He told them about the fraud problem. He asked what papers they needed for a real report. Lily had her computer out. She was making a list of all the people Janet hurt with her lies over the years. It had friends she made fight. It had family who stopped talking because of Janet's stories. Dad was in his office on the phone with credit card firms. His work voice was strong, but his hands shook as he wrote down case numbers and fight claim info. We could hear Janet upstairs throwing things. She yelled on the phone to someone. She said her mean family was kicking her out for no reason. Rowena stayed on speaker the whole time. She told us each step we needed to take to keep us safe from more bad things Janet might do. 20 minutes later, Janet came down the stairs loud. She pulled 2 big bags behind her. Her face was red and puffy from crying, but her eyes were wild and mean. She put the bags by the door. She turned to face us. She said if we called the cops, she would kill herself, and it would be our fault. Rowena's voice came through the phone fast. She said this was a trick people use. She said if we thought Janet would hurt herself, we should call 911 now. Janet's face got more red when she heard that. She yelled that I broke the whole family with my bad ways. She said God will punish me for liking girls and for making Lily like them too. Her words did not hurt now. Everyone knew who she really was. She grabbed the door handle. She pulled it open so hard it hit the wall. A picture fell off the wall on the floor. Mark laughed at her high school grad picture. She stormed out, pulling her bags. We heard her car drive away. The next morning, Dad took us all to the police station. We met Detective Celine Voss. She was a tall woman with gray hair. She took our proof folder. She looked at it page by page. She said Janet's lies could lead to many crime charges. She asked us questions for 2 hours. She took copies of all we had. While we were there, Dad got a call from his money man. There was a weird thing on his work credit card. 3 months ago,
someone rented a nice place in town with his work card. Janet said she went to this place for school groups all term. The rent paper was in Dad's name, so he had to pay $12,000 for past rent. Detective Voss wrote this down. She said it showed she planned it. We went from the police to the bank where Dad had his work accounts. The boss took us to a back room. He showed us camera videos on his computer. Janet was at the money machine. She hid her face with big sunglasses and a hat. She took out the most money she could each day from Dad's work account. The boss helped us fill out fraud papers for each take. He said having a police report would help them get the money back. Maybe we could get some money back. We just left the bank when Rowena called with scary news. Janet asked for a $50,000 loan using Mom and Dad's info. They said yes yesterday. The money would go in their account tomorrow morning if we did not stop it now. Dad spent the next 3 hours on the phone with the loan place. He tried to show it was ID theft. He had to email them copies of the police report. He had to sign many papers saying he never asked for a loan. They said yes to stop it, but they said it would hurt his credit score anyway. That night, our phones got full of Janet's texts. She said long sorry texts. She said she was sorry and just needed help. Then 5 minutes later, she would send a text. She said she would break our lives if we did not drop the charges. She wrote on Facebook that Mom and Dad kicked her out. She said she was just trying to save me from sin. She said they liked their gay kid more than their straight kid who was just trying to help. Most people who knew our family could tell her story was wrong, but Lily could not take the mess anymore. She asked Mark if she could stay with him for a few days. They spent the night calling people who bought Grandpa's stuff on the selling site. Mark told them the stuff was stolen. He asked if they would give it back. One old man who bought Grandpa's Purple Heart got very mad when he learned the truth. He said he bought it because Janet told him the family needed money for doctor bills. He said he would mail it back for free. He said he was sorry he bought it. Mom spent most of the day in her room crying and praying. She kept asking me if she was a bad mom. She asked what she did wrong with Janet. I sat with her. I told her Janet made these choices all by herself. Mom held my hand while she cried. It was the most we had touched in months. She could not understand how Janet could lie so much about so many things. I told her Janet did this since we were kids. She just got better at hiding it. Mom said she felt bad for not seeing it. I told her Janet tricked all of us. She asked if I thought Janet would really hurt herself. I said Janet cared too much about herself to do that. The next morning, Detective Voss called with more bad news about Janet. They found credit card asks in Lily's name. Janet sent them last week. They said no because Lily was too young, but it showed how desperate Janet was. Detective Voss said this was another crime. It was trying to steal a kid's ID. She asked Lily if she would come in and tell about it. Dad's hands shook when he hung up the phone. Lily came down the stairs. Her face was white. She asked if we could go to Rowena's office now. Janet had come to her school that morning. Janet waited by Lily's car in the school lot. She followed Lily to the school. Lily said Janet grabbed her arm many times. She told Lily she needed to tell the cops she was mixed up about everything. The school safety guard saw Janet get mean.
He had to make Janet leave Lily alone. Rowena's helper, Callum, came to the office in an hour. He started filling out papers to keep Janet away. Lily's hands shook. He said the school thing would help our case. It had people who saw it and camera videos. Lily had to write down everything Janet told her, even the threats to break her college asks if she did not help. Callum sent in the emergency order that day. He told us Janet would get it in 24 hours. 2 days later, Rowena called. She told us Janet lost her job at the mall. The boss found stuff missing. He looked at camera videos from the last 3 months. He saw Janet doing fake returns. She put the money in her pocket, not in the cash box.
The boss planned to tell the cops. This would be another big crime on Janet's record. Rowena said this helped our case. It showed she stole from many places. Dad spent the next morning at his money man's office. They looked at every work deal from last year. They found $28,000 in fake checks. They found another $12,000 in bad credit card buys. The money man thought insurance would pay for about half. Dad would have to pay the rest. Dad's face was gray when he got home. He had to take his blood pressure pills 2 times that day. That night, the church elder called. Dad put him on speaker so Mom could hear. The elder said people were talking about our family. It was making the church fight. He said we should stop being leaders at church until things got better. Dad just said, okay. He hung up. He did not fight. It showed how tired he was. Mom cried again. She went to her room without eating dinner. My phone buzzed with a text from someone I did not know. It was a friend of Janet from school. She said Janet told everyone I made up all the proof because I was mad she did well. The friend said she stopped believing Janet after she saw the police report online. She wanted me to know Janet also lied about working at a law office. Janet had no job for months. She sent me pics of Janet's texts. Janet said our whole family hated gay people. She said she needed to keep herself safe. I sent all to Rowena. She said it would help show Janet's pattern of lying. The next afternoon, we got an urgent call from the home where Grandma stayed. Someone tried to go in Grandma's room after visiting time. They said they were her granddaughter with a family problem. The person looked like Janet. She tried to make the night nurse believe she needed to buy jewelry for a funeral. The safety people sent her away, but not before she made a scene in the front room. We had to add more safety. We had to give a list of who could visit. Mark was so mad he punched a hole in his wall. He had to put ice on his hand. Mom finally met with me 3 days later. Dad was in another meeting with lawyers. She said she'd been thinking about everything. She knew Janet's betrayal was worse than anything. She told me she needed time to understand I liked girls. But she could see what real hurt looked like now. She took my hand. She told me Janet taught her the difference between not agreeing and breaking things. It was not full okay with me being gay, but it was the first time she touched me on her own since she found out. She asked if I always knew. I said yes, since middle school. She nodded. She said she wished I'd felt safe enough to tell her before. The next week, Detective Voss called.
She said they were bringing Janet in for real questions. Janet came to the station with a free lawyer. The lawyer told her not to talk. Detective Voss said Janet needing a lawyer made her look guilty to everyone. They had to let her go. They told her not to call any family. Janet broke the rule in 2 hours. She called Mom from a number she was not supposed to use. Mom hung up. She called Detective Voss right away to tell her. At the same time, Mark looked at old emails. He found something bad. Janet put our info on bad websites that sell people's info. She put all our social security numbers. She put Mom's name before she married. She put our old addresses. Mark found at least 3 websites where she sold our info for fast money. We had to freeze our credit right away. We had to change every password we ever used. In just 1 week, the credit watch service found 4 tries to open new accounts in my name. Mark's girl helped us set up ID theft protection, but she said the bad effects could last for years. 2 weeks after the big fight, Dad got a call from an old man. He bought some of Grandpa's watches on the selling site. The man said he had been thinking. He wanted to do the right thing. He offered to sell them back to us for the same price he paid Janet, no extra money. Dad met him at a coffee shop. He came back with 6 of the 12 watches. It had Grandpa's favorite one from the war. Dad cried holding that watch. He said it felt like he got a piece of his dad back. The man said he was sorry he bought them. He said he should have known something was wrong. Janet looked so desperate. Dad thanked him. He said not many people would be that honest about giving them back. Lily came to my place 3 days later. She had a letter she found in her bag after school. Her hand shook as she gave it to me. I knew right away it was Janet's writing. It had Bible words about family love and forgiving on both sides. Lily had already called Detective Voss. She came in an hour to take the letter. It was proof Janet broke the rule to stay away. The detective took pics of everything. She told Janet if she contacted any of us again, she would go to jail. She said the people who would fight her in court would add this to the charges. It made it more likely Janet would go to prison. Lily stayed with me that night. She was scared Janet might come to Mom and Dad's house.
even though the order to stay away kept us all safe. The next morning, I finally made a meeting with a talk doctor my doctor said to see weeks ago. I sat in her office trying to explain all that happened. She listened without judging me. I told her about Janet telling everyone I liked girls. I told her about seeing my family break. She helped me see that Janet using who I like as a weapon said nothing about who I am. She taught me ways to breathe when I got too mad. She helped me understand that Janet's meanness came from her own problems, not from anything I did wrong. We planned to meet each week. She said getting better would take time, but I had already been very brave by standing up for the truth. 2 days later, when I was at work, Rowena called with news from the bank. They looked at all the fraud complaints we made. They said yes to give back almost 60% of the money we told them about it so fast. Dad would get back $24,000 of the $40,000 Janet stole, but the rest was too old to fight about.
Rowena said it was better than other fraud cases she worked on. We at least got some money back, even though the hurt feelings would last much longer. Mom called me that afternoon. She told me she and Dad had started seeing a marriage helper. They were trying to deal with what Janet did to them. The helper was showing them how Janet used their faith to hide her bad acts. She made them fight each other. Mom said the helper showed them how Janet used their faith to hide when she got in trouble. Dad was starting to forgive himself for not seeing the signs sooner. Mom was dealing with her sadness about raising someone who could be so mean. They went 2 times a week. Mom said it was the first time in months they really talked. They did not just fight about who was to blame. Rowena called back a week later. This time she sounded annoyed. Janet's free lawyer talked to her about a possible deal. Janet would say she did fraud and stole IDs. She would get watched by the law instead of jail. She would have to pay the money back. The lawyer said Janet would go to therapy and stay away from family, but she did not want jail time. She said mind problems caused all this. Rowena said we had to decide as a family. We could say yes to the deal, or we could try to put her in jail. That could mean a long trial. Mark wanted her in jail. Mom was worried about Janet's future with a big crime record. Dad said he just wanted this to be over so we could move on. Lily said she would feel better if Janet could not reach us for years. After 3 family talks and many phone calls, we said yes to the deal, but only with strict rules. Janet had to pay all the money back, even if it took many years. She had to go to therapy for at least 2 years. She could not contact any family for 5 years, and she had to do 300 hours of work for free to help the community. Rowena said if she broke any rule, she would go to jail right away. No second chances. The plea meeting was 2 weeks later at the court downtown. Janet wore a plain suit. She tried to look sorry, but the fake act broke as soon as she talked. She told the judge we were punishing her. She said she was the only good one in our family. She said it was all a mix-up. The judge saw through her right away. He said he had rarely seen someone show less sorry for breaking their family. He said yes to the deal, but he added 500 hours of free work for the community. He also said she had to take a class about money. Janet's lawyer tried to argue, but the judge said she was lucky to stay out of jail. She should be thankful her family was kind. That night, as I lay in bed, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. She had been reading books about gay people and faith. The marriage helper suggested them. She wanted me to know she was trying to understand. She said she still had questions and hard times, but I was her daughter. That would never change. She said seeing Janet's hate taught her what really hurts a family. It was not who someone loved. It was the first time she reached out since the start. She did not just seem mad or quote Bible words. Reading her text made me cry. I wrote back that I loved her too. The next week, Lily asked if I would go with her to Mom and Dad's to talk about something important. We sat in the living room where the bad meal happened. Lily took a big breath. Then she told them she liked girls too. Mom's face showed about 10 different feelings, but Dad just nodded slow. He had thought so for a while. Lily held my hand. She said she had known for years, but she was too scared to say anything after she saw how they reacted to me. Mom started crying, but not the mad tears from before.
These were sad tears. She was sad she did not make a safe place for her girls. Dad said Janet's betrayal taught them that being honest was important, even if it did not match what they thought. They promised to try to understand. They asked Lily to be patient as they learned. Mom hugged both of us. She said she would rather have honest daughters than another Janet. 3 weeks after the plea meeting, Mark asked everyone to eat at his place. He wanted to celebrate his girl's new job at work. She had helped so much with Janet that she felt like family. Mark wanted to make it real. We all brought food.
For the first time in months, it felt like a real family meal. No one was mad or blaming others. Mark raised his glass. He made a toast to the truth, even when it hurts, and to family bonds that stayed strong, even when Janet tried to break them. His girl thanked us for welcoming her. She said she had never seen a family fight so hard to stay together through such hard times. We stayed up late talking and laughing. Mom even asked about my girl's job without judging her. Lily brought her girl. No one made her feel weird or bad. Dad said he was proud of his kids for being honest, even when it was scary. 3 months went by. Then the first check from Janet came in Dad's mail. It was only $200 of the $40,000 she owed, but Dad looked at it for a long time. He drove to the old stuff dealer in town. The man had one of Grandpa's watches. Dad paid $800 to get it back. The dealer remembered buying it from a young woman. She said her grandpa died and the family needed money. Dad put the watch in his safe with the others we had found. With tests and all the other school stuff, my graduation day came fast. Lily wore a small rainbow pin on her dress. Mom saw it but did not say anything. She just held both our hands as we walked across school together. She took lots of pictures. She told other parents about her honest daughters who made her proud. We went to eat after. No one talked about Janet's empty chair at the table. Detective Vos called me 2 weeks later. I was packing my dorm room. Janet was caught in Nevada. She tried to open credit cards with fake papers at 3 different places. The detective said she would face federal charges. She went across state lines to commit fraud. She used a fake name and colored her hair black, but they caught her anyway. Mom and Dad decided to say their marriage vows again. It was their 25th anniversary, 6 months after everything happened. They kept it small at the court, just the kids and Mark's girl. The judge read words about truth and trust being the base of marriage. Mom wore her first wedding dress. It still fit. Dad cried during the ceremony. They went to eat after. Dad made a toast about finding what really matters in a family. Lily got her yes letter from State University the next spring. She also got a full scholarship. Her essay was about finding bravery. She wrote about seeing her sister break their family with lies. At the same time, she learned to be herself. The scholarship people said it was the best essay they read that year. She moved to the dorms that fall. She put pride flags in her window.
Mark had been planning to ask his girl to marry him for months. He did it at our 4th of July cookout in the yard. He went down on one knee. He told his girl she showed real loyalty. She said yes right away. Everyone was happy. Dad made burgers. Mom cried happy tears. They set the wedding date for next summer. They asked me to be in the wedding. 8 months after she went to jail, Janet's lawyer sent a big package. It had her prisoner number on it. I opened it. It had 10 pages of her blaming me for breaking her life and future. She called me bad names. She said I turned the family against her because of my gay rights plan. I read the first part. Then I threw it away. I did not read the rest. 2 years after that bad Sunday meal, we all met at Mom and Dad's for Thanksgiving. Without Janet, the table was smaller, but it felt bigger because everyone was honest with each other. No one acted weird when Lily brought her girl. Mark's wife was going to have a baby. She showed everyone baby pictures. Mom made the same food she always did, but this time we really enjoyed eating it. Dad said thanks to God for the truth. He thanked family members who chose honesty over lies. We stayed up late playing board games. We told stories. No one hid secrets or planned mean tricks. The house felt quiet in a good way. It never felt quiet when Janet lied about everything. We were not perfect. Mom had a hard time sometimes with 2 gay daughters, but we were trying. That was more than we ever had when Janet poisoned everything with her lies and plans.